What's good, y'all? It's your boy Cameron. I'm back with another reaction video. Today we're reacting to he replaced El Chapo, had a $15 million bounty, and a secret lover exposed his location. Hey, look, man, they say what must go up must come down, man. I'm saying if you're in Mexico right now, my prayers go out to you to make your home back safe, because the shit that I've seen, Mexico is in hell fire. I'm saying, and this is kind of why me personally, I choose not to travel to these certain countries, because you just never know when shit gonna outbreak, and you may be there, you may be stuck there, you may be traveling there. I enjoy traveling and going on a vacation and shit, but going to other countries and shit, you just never know how shit gonna react, and especially with Trump doing what Trump doing with Mexicans and Mexicans and shit like that. I don't want no part. So may this individual rest in peace. I hope everyone that's out there in Mexico travel get home safe, because it's looking scary. You know what I'm saying? To have a $15 million bounty on your head and your secret lover to blow out your location. Hey, look, man, you got, you know what I'm saying, got a lot of shit to go on to work with here. So that's enough talking. Let's get into this video and see what's going on. Before we get into this video, if you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe with the like button, turn on post notifications, and notified every time I post a video. Also, if you guys have any videos that you like from me react to social media sites, in the description below for facing them in, and I react to them. With that being said, let's get right into this video.
Burning buses, highways locked down, cities across Mexico looking like a war zone, and one of the most feared cartel bosses in modern history is dead. And the world is asking one question: was this justice or pressure from across the border? After months of political tension, extraditions, and a $15 million bounty hanging over his head, El Mencho, the face of Jalisco New Generation Cartel, was finally tracked down. Mexican officials now say a woman close to him became the catalyst that helped lead investigators to his location. But as the smoke filled the streets and cartel retaliation spread it like wildfire, President Trump kept quiet. But it was 4 words he said before all this. They got U.S. citizens raising eyebrows, especially the ones that's unfortunately stuck over there at the moment. Quote, Mexico must step up.
By the way, you have to do something with Mexico. Mexico has to get their act together, because they're pouring through Mexico, and we're going to have to do something. We'd love Mexico to do it. They're capable of doing it, but unfortunately the cartels are very strong in Mexico.
I remember Claudia Scheinbaum, and you told me at one point you had offered to send U.S. troops into Mexico to combat drug trafficking there. Is that something you have spoken to her about?
I think she's...
But this people won't be taking my ass over there, man. You know what I'm saying? I'll be scared. You know what I mean? My brother went and had a fight in a boxing match in Mexico. You know what I'm saying? Guadalajara to be exact. And when I tell y'all they was walking around in restaurants, I'm talking about outside the restaurant. I ain't never been in a restaurant where security guards had ARs standing out at the front door. Never in my life have I seen that. You know what I'm saying? The shit y'all be, I don't know if y'all watch movies that take place in Mexico and shit like that, but when y'all see like the little pickup trucks and I'm sitting on the back of the pickup trucks with the ski mask on and big guns and shit, that shit is real. I'm saying that shit is no joke. You know what I mean? And you never know when the cartel gonna try to act up, flip out, and come raid some shit, especially in that part of Mexico, because it's not really a tourist site. It's for their own people. So this is why I mainly don't be going over other countries, because you just never know when their people are gonna react, blow up, or do whatever the fuck they want to do, and you become a victim to this shit. I refuse to be a victim.
She's a terrific person. I would say every single time I talk to her, I offered to send troops.
And she's just not willing?
She's concerned. She's a little afraid.
She's a female.
The cartels are running Mexico, whether you like it or not.
So today, we're not just talking about a cartel boss being taken down. We got to talk about politics, pressure, and power moving behind the scenes. Because before the raid ever happened, nearly 100 cartel figures were quietly handed over to the United States, including El Mencho's own brother. Trump labeled these groups terrorists. Mexico resisted U.S. troops crossing the border. And then suddenly, one of the most wanted men in the world is killed, and the country erupts. So the real question is this: did Mexico pull the trigger on the operation alone? Or was this the result of a much bigger geopolitical play? This might be the first kind of video we do of this kind, so I did my best to do extensive research along the journey. But before we go over this one, I want you guys to remember, I won't give you no angle. I just give you the story. So with that being said, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We'll jump right to it. Now, before we go any further and talk about El Mencho, we gotta understand something. Mexico is not the United States. It's a separate country with its own army, its own president, and its own rules. So when Donald Trump talks about sending U.S. troops across the border, that ain't just politics. That's sovereignty. And for Mexico, letting another country military operate on their soil could look like losing control of their own war. Now look, even though Mexico isn't a part of the United States, the reality is the two countries are tied together by money, security, and one long border that never sleeps. And for months, pressure had been building behind closed doors. Donald Trump wasn't just talking about immigration. He was calling cartel terrorists, offering a $15 million reward for El Mencho, and pushing Mexico to go harder than ever before. But Mexico's president made one thing clear: no U.S. troops crossing the border. So instead of boots on the ground, a different kind of partnership started taking shape. One built on intelligence, trade leverage, and quiet extraditions that most people never even heard about.
97% of the drugs coming in by water, and we are going to start now hitting land with regard to the cartels. The cartels are running Mexico. It's very, very sad to watch and see what's happened to that country, but the cartels are running, and they're killing 250, 300,000 people in our country every single year. The drugs, it's horrible. It's devastated families. You know, you lose a child or a parent. I mean, parents are dying too with drugs. So we've done a really good job. We're knocking it down. The numbers are really getting to be, they're always going to be too high if you have one person, but they're going down just like the border. The border was a total mess for years. I did it the first time very quickly, and this time I did it even better because this was a bigger mess. This was a border like no other probably in the history of the world. There's never been a border like that when anybody...
Like me personally, a lot of people may not agree with this, but it is what it is. My opinion, my channel, don't like it, get a stepping. You know what I'm saying? I think that a lot of these issues that occur here in America is more so issues that happen within our people. Yeah, it's outsourced, but then you have to also hold those accountable that choose to take that route of life. You understand what I'm saying? And I guess starting that would be to end the pipelines and connections they have to get it. Because at the end of the day, drugs going to be here regardless. Whether it's a pill, whether it's a plant, whether it's a liquid, whether it's a piece of candy, whatever you want to call it, oil, whatever, it's going to be here. You know what I'm saying? And to try to, I guess, do his job and end it coming here is a part of it. But I do feel like majority of it, and maybe I'm wrong, but a lot of majority of it is coming from within our own soil. You understand? Our own people, you know, giving to each other and trying to make a dollar and profit off of, you know, selling drugs to each other. So I think that other countries have a part of it, but I think the mass majority comes from people within here making bad decisions.
You could just walk into your country.
Now, fam, months before the raid in Jalisco, the first cracks in the cartel's armor were already showing. In a move that many people didn't even notice at the time, Mexico quietly handed over 92 suspected cartel figures to the United States to stand trial. Not small players neither. High-level traffickers, security commanders, and even Antonio Cervantes, the brother of El Mencho himself. For years, extradition requests sat untouched. But once cartels were labeled foreign terrorist organizations, the pressure changed everything. To some observers, this wasn't just cooperation. It was Mexico sending a message. The era of protecting cartel power behind politics might finally be coming to an end.
7 members of Mexican drug cartels are now in the United States as the Trump administration puts pressure on governments to crack down on criminal networks, it says, are smuggling drugs across the border. Mexican authorities handed over important figures from the most infamous cartels who all have pending cases here in the U.S. Valeria Leon is covering the story from Mexico City.
On the first anniversary of President Trump's second term, Mexico announced the transfer of 37 inmates to the United States. This is the third operation of its kind in just 1 year, something unprecedented in the relationship between the two countries. In total, Mexico has now sent 92 high-risk criminals across the border. This latest transfer began at El Altiplano, one of Mexico's highest security prisons. 7 military aircraft flew the inmates into U.S. territory, sending them to 6 cities. San Diego, San Antonio, Washington, D.C., Houston, New York, and Pennsylvania. According to a post on X by Mexico's Secretary of Public Security, Omar Garcia Harfuch, these 37 inmates were operators within major criminal organizations and were considered a real threat to national security. The government emphasized that the operation respected Mexico's sovereignty and was carried out under the agreement that death penalty would not be considered. The request for their transfer came from the U.S. Department of Justice, but this wasn't the first time. Back in August, Mexico sent another 26 inmates to the U.S., a group that included figures like Juan Carlos Felix, the son-in-law of Sinaloa Cartel co-founder Ismael El Mayo Zambada, and Servando Gomez Latuta, a well-known leader of Los Caballeros Templarios. That August operation had been preceded by the first transfer, carried out early in February, when Mexico handed over Rafael Caro Quintero, one of the most wanted fugitives in the United States since 1985, after the kidnapping and murder of DEA agent Kiki Camarena. And here's the key point. None of these three historic transfers were formal extraditions. Mexico insists they're not extraditions at all, but rather transfers carried out under a cooperation framework between both countries. Valeria Leon, CNN, Mexico City.
And among those transferred was Maria del Rosario Navarro Sanchez, the first Mexican citizen to face charges in the U.S. for providing support to a terrorist organization. She's accused of conspiring with a cartel.
Now, when Trump asked, Mexico was holding up their word, but it was one person they wanted, and they put a $15 million bounty on his head to get him, the guy who technically replaced El Chapo once he went down. Two different organizations, but one rose to the top, El Mencho. Fast forward to February 2026. Months of pressure from the United States. Dozens of cartel figures already extradited. And intelligence tightened around one of the most hunted men alive. Mexican special forces moved towards a residence hidden inside Jalisco. Authorities say the breakthrough came after information linked to a woman close to the cartel boss helped narrow his location down. When soldiers surrounded the property, officials say El Mencho was inside, moving cautiously, unaware that the circle around him had already closed. Photos released from inside the residence show a quiet setting, but outside, heavily armed units were preparing for a confrontation. Years in the making, there was no sirens, no public warnings. Mexican forces breached the location, taking him into custody after a tense operation that officials described as high risk from the start. For a brief moment, it looked like one of the most powerful cartel leaders in modern history had finally been captured alive. But the operation didn't end there. During transport, chaos erupted. Gunfire broke out, and according to early reports, El Mencho was shot and killed during the confrontation involving special agents on the ground. Details remain intense and controversial, but what happened next would send shockwaves across the country. As the smoke cleared, one of the agents involved appeared on camera, showing the cause of the operation and the violence that unfolded behind the scenes. A moment that revealed just how dangerous this mission had become, even for the forces carrying it out.
Like, y'all gotta think about that. You know what I'm saying? Y'all talking about the cartel run these countries, man. You know what I'm saying? If that's the case, you take one of their own, they're going nuts. They're going bananas, man. You know what I'm saying? And I find it very crazy that people are willing to die and kill and do all that they do behind one person or behind a gang or behind an organization. That shit is crazy to me. But everybody gonna live their life how they want to live it. You know what I'm saying? So for them to think that they was just gonna kidnap that man and nothing was gonna happen, I had another thing coming, man. You know what I'm saying? Another thing coming for sure. What's that?
Within hours of the news spreading, retaliation hit fast. Buses burned, highways blocked, entire city lit up in flames as cartel cells react to the loss of their leaders, even showing off their fleet of military cars and armor.
Jeez. Oh, no. Somebody taking my ass over there, man. That's the cartel? Hell yeah. These niggas felt like the military. Look at these niggas, man. Yo. But this be why. This be why they be trying to leave Mexico and come over here, man. You know what I'm saying? This is why they be coming over here. Cause imagine this. You mean you go in the store trying to shop and shit, and they want to go in the same store and want to kill a clerk, and you get bodied because you witnessed it. Imagine that. These niggas ride around like the military, man. You know what I'm saying? You would have thought that was the military. Sirens on their shit, armory like what? Nah, man.
Shit, crazy cartel tripping and shit, man. I was supposed to leave Sunday. Nigga stuck out here, ain't no flights, no none, man. This shit's crazy. I got work, I got a daughter I gotta get back home to. Man, this shit for the birds. If y'all know any flights or anything, recommendations, comment below.
Damn.
Soon, man. This shit crazy for sure.
There's a movie, right? I don't know if y'all seen it, where I don't know what country it was, and I forgot the actor, but he's a famous actor. He went on vacation with his family, and when it was in a resort, something about the embassy or some shit happened, and the cartel ran into the resort. If y'all know the movie I'm talking about, comment it down below. So whoever haven't seen it, you know what I'm talking about. They had went and raided the resorts to all the Americans were staying. Now I hope that shit don't happen, bro. Cause if it is, that'll be very, very unfortunate and sad. You know what I'm saying? They ain't got nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? That's between two governments. Bring your ass over here. Go to the White House. I'm not telling y'all to do this, but if y'all want to react and want a reaction from somebody and retaliate, go over there to their people and fuck with their shit. You know what I'm saying? Don't take our loved ones, put out there over there on vacation, minding their business. You know what I'm saying? They ain't got nothing to do with that. They ain't stop y'all. They ain't send y'all. They ain't send them. None of that. Go over there and deal with them people. Leave it to the higher ups. But if that happens, that'd be very unfortunate. And that movie, if y'all know what I'm talking about, is the reason why I keep my black ass right here on U.S. soil. If I go somewhere, it's very brief. 2, 3 days, 4 days, that's it. Weeks, months, no sir can do. I'm too scared, too paranoid. I'll lose it. You know what I'm saying?
Man was soft.
And like they said, they don't make announcements when they do shit like this. They just did it. So now they're going to react and no announcement. They're just going to do it.
Located of one of El Mencho's romantic partners who transferred her to a facility in the town of Tapalpa, Jalisco.
She's dead walking. She's a dead woman
In
walking.
that
I ain't gonna lie to
place,
you guys.
she met with El Mencho, this romantic partner, and on February 21st, she left the property and information was obtained that El Mencho remained in that place. He stayed there with a security detail the same 21st.
And just like that, a man who moved like a ghost for years became another name in the headline.
Cause some
But the
coochie.
real story doesn't end with one raid, one house, or even one cartel boss. Because when power falls in the underworld, somebody always step up to take his place. Now they saying a 29-year-old is set to step up. But in this video, we watch politics, pressure, and the streets collide. From Washington to Mexico City, all the way down to the people just trying to make it home to their families. So now I want to hear from y'all. Did this operation bring a real change, or did it just open the door for the next war? If you're new.
All right, so now we're gonna watch more of a detailed video as to what's going on in Mexico right now.
Deadly violence sparked by the military killing of an
Holy
infamous
shit.
cartel leader has now spread across at least 2/3 of Mexico's states, with experts warning it could trigger a total war in the country. Reports of raging gun battles with authorities and terrifying images of torched buildings and vehicles paint a dire picture of the sudden chaos within the country, as American citizens near the border have been warned to shelter in place while flights are being canceled. So what exactly is going on in Mexico? Here's everything you need to know. At least 20 of Mexico's 31 states have seen violent clashes in the wake of the death of the country's most wanted man, Nemesio Oseguera Cervantes, head of the Jalisco New Generation Cartel, or CJNG in its Spanish initials. Oseguera Cervantes, better known as El Mencho, died in custody on Sunday, February 22nd, shortly after being captured by Mexican special forces in a violent shootout in Tapalpa within the Jalisco state. One gruesome clip taken by a Mexican soldier allegedly involved in the firefight
That's
shows
what he
a
was
bullet
showing.
casing
What the
lodged in his
fuck?
face following the raid. Narco gangs responded to El Mencho's death by blockading highways, setting cars ablaze, and torching businesses as part of their
Holy
retaliation over
shit.
the crime boss's death. A harrowing
I never
video
get understood why people do shit like that. You know what I'm saying? I get, you know what I'm saying, you want to go off about your loved one and so on and so forth. But what is you torching the neighborhood got anything to do with it? You know what I'm saying? They're going to rebuild this shit eventually. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to lie to y'all. When you go to Mexico, a lot of this shit be like this. Not burnt and shit, but ran down. You know what I'm saying? Especially in Guadalajara. I don't know about anywhere else because I've been to Guadalajara and Cancun. But when I was in Guadalajara, bro, it was like some real life shit you see in the movie. Shit ran down, abandoned, shit like that. So this is probably what goes on constantly, where people get kidnapped and not kidnapped, but like going into custody and they start raiding and going crazy. I never understood why people do shit like this, but whatever.
From
So
the
if it pleases y'all, then
province shows a screaming woman with her clothes on fire, bursting out of a burning
you see, I was
convenience
just saying
store
this.
as horrified bystanders attempt to put out the flames. Violence spread quickly
Innocent,
along
got
the
nothing to do with
country's
this
west coast, reaching up to the U.S. border with California. Dozens of people, including cartel members, National Guard members, and civilians, have been declared dead as a result of the clashes.
Damn.
Footage from within Jalisco shows plumes of smoke billowing into the air from city skylines and apparent bullet holes in storefronts. The violence eventually shut down the country's second-largest city, Jalisco's state capital of Guadalajara, as cartel members engaged in running gun battles with authorities. The major Mexican resort town of Puerto Vallarta in Jalisco was under siege on February 22nd, with tourists being warned to stay indoors as narco gangs went on a rampage. Witnesses told Fox News they were forced to evacuate their rooms with limited hotel food and even venture outside in search of meals while waiting for Mexican authorities to regain control of the city. As panic spread throughout the region, reports initially surfaced of gunfire at Guadalajara International Airport on February 22nd, with one video posted online showing what appeared to be panicked passengers running for their lives. In a statement later in the day, the Pacific Airport Group said the Mexican National Guard had been dispatched to the bustling airport, but maintained that no incidents have been reported inside the facilities, and that it was operating as usual. The violence has paralyzed a hugely populated swath of Mexico, with major U.S. airlines canceling travel in and out of Puerto Vallarta on February 23rd. Puerto Vallarta is the country's fourth largest tourism destination, while Guadalajara's airport is the country's third busiest, with 18.7 million travelers every year. 4 professional soccer matches between local clubs in Mexico were also postponed amid the violence near Guadalajara, one of the country's host cities for the 2026 World Cup. According to one expert, the killing of El Mencho could trigger a total war against the Mexican state, security expert David Saucedo warned CNN Español. This didn't seem to be just an operation to capture El Mencho, but to exterminate him, to use lethal force to bring him down, Saucedo told CNN. In the criminal underworld, such actions are not simply overlooked. The reaction is what we're seeing now: narco-terrorism, blockades, and fires in grocery stores across Mexico, he added. On Monday, February 23rd, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum, along with authorities, reported that 2,500 troops had been deployed to Jalisco and neighboring states amid the chaos in the country that followed El Mencho's death, claiming that, quote, normality was reinstalled after military personnel were deployed. They also reported that 30 cartel operatives were killed in the violence, along with one female bystander, while 70 people were arrested in 7 states across the country. Oseguera Cervantes, a 6th grade dropout and a former cop, became one of Mexico's most feared cartel bosses, following the arrest and conviction of Joaquin El Chapo Guzman by U.S. authorities. The 59-year-old kingpin died in Tapalpa in Jalisco following a raid by Mexican forces. The notorious drug kingpin was seriously injured in a firefight between military commandos and his bodyguards and died shortly after from injuries en route to Mexico City. According to the White House, the U.S. provided intelligence support for the operation, which Sheinbaum confirmed. However, she noted there was no U.S. participation. El Mencho had been indicted several times in Washington, D.C. since 2017, most recently in April 2022, when he was charged with conspiracy and distribution of controlled substances for illegal importation into the U.S.
Hey, look, man. To answer bro's question, man, I think this shit is just gonna cause a big war. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, like they were saying, the cartel runs Mexico, and this is kind of why I stay away from these places, because I don't want to be a victim to, you know, the shit that they got going on in their country, right? Seems like America kind of has a hold on what's going on and who the outrages and shit like that. Shit like that don't happen here. You know what I'm saying? Where people just want to go outrage and, you know, setting shit on fire happens, but not to that severity. You understand? Now, I think it's just it's not gonna solve anything. It's not gonna, you know, make or break anything. You understand? They're gonna set shit on fire, which I don't understand, and shit gonna go back to normal. Not instantly, but you know, they have military, they have people that can fight back, so eventually shit can go back to, you know, to normal. But unfortunately, a lot of people are gonna be put in jeopardy. You know, the lady that got set on fire, kids that are going to school, people getting shot at across, you know what I'm saying? Stupid shit, stores getting set on fire, crazy shit happening. People, innocent bystanders get struck or hurt behind these, you know, actions. So it definitely sucks. But at the end of the day, you know, I feel like as long as there's a power seat and there's a seat for somebody to be in charge, these kind of things are always gonna happen. Is it gonna stop anything? No, because like he said in the other video, apparently it's supposed to be a 29-year-old that's supposed to be taking his place. It's just gonna continue. You understand? Bad makes good look good. Good makes bad makes good look good. You understand? So without no bad, there is no good. So I feel like it's never gonna solve. It's never gonna stop or, you know, come to a complete end. Because even though there's a government set in place, or, you know, the higher ups, they're benefiting off of this shit. You understand? Somebody behind it is either controlling it to a minimum, keeping it where there's less hurt and, you know, more gain from it. It's always gonna be somebody at power that's gonna be doing the wrong thing with it. So it's very unfortunate. May anybody out there that's getting stuck out there, you know, may everybody be safe out there. For all the Mexicans or the cartel, whoever out there wanna, you know, if y'all may see this, come across this, go attack the White House. If they said America had nothing to do with this shit, if they did, y'all wanna get mad, go attack them. Don't come over here attacking our innocent people and attack people that had nothing to do with this shit. You get what I'm saying? Y'all people kill y'all people, y'all deal with that. Don't go attacking people that's over there on vacation, you know, visiting shit like that, because they had nothing to do with that. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I share my fair share experience with Guadalajara, one of the most scariest shits I've ever been a part of in my life. And I come from the hood, you understand? And to be a part of somebody's hood where, you know, like I said, you go to restaurants and the security guards holding guns and shit, is nothing to joke with. So I hope everyone out there that's, you know, on vacation and trapped out there get home safe and make it back to their loved ones. May this individual rest in peace. My condolences go out to his loved ones, because at the end of the day, whether he was doing good or bad, his family got to feel the backlash behind his death. So and so does the city. So I wish everyone the best of luck. May everyone stay safe. I hope everyone out there that's on vacation get back home safe, and all the people that had nothing to do with this shit come back home and one, you know, safe and sound back to their loved ones. Because I don't think that any of y'all should have to feel the rebuttal or feel the backlash behind what's going on in other countries. And that's that. That's the end of the video. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. You guys let me know if you like this video, and thanks for my see y'all.